Okay, all right, everyone. Can someone confirm that I'm audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
All right, thank you. So, this is the agenda for today's class. So, first of all, in the last class, we looked at certain networks, some of which were artificial, some of which were real world networks. So, today we'll have a very quick live coding on how do you start coding these networks. So in graph theory, again, you have studied all these networks theoretically. So since now we'll be dealing with networks having millions and billions of nodes, we should have a way to automate this procedure. There are a lot of tools out to do this. So one is called Jeffy. But if you talk about these graphical user interface based tools, they provide you a limited functionality. So our aim here is to do more and more analysis so that we can work with very large graphs. So instead of using any GUI, we'll using the programming language and associated libraries. So I'm going to introduce you to a library called iGraph. So this library is there in both R as well as Python, but I'm going to show it to you using R, right? And then you can reproduce the same thing using Python. So these are the four things which we are going to do. I'm going to show you how to create some very simple graphs, some synthetic graphs also. Then I'll show you some online available data sets which you can utilize for your projects. Then I'll show you an actual real world network which I have collected during one of the faculty development programs. And lastly, I'll show you how to collect some of the live data from Twitter and how you can do some analysis on that. And at the end, I'll leave you with an assignment, right? So we'll decide on the deadline of this assignment after I tell you what the assignment is all about. So this is my screen where I'm going to code. Is this R Studio visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I have already installed iGraph here. In case you are working with R, you can just go to packages, click on install and just type iGraph here and click on install. It will install. Like I have already installed it, so I'm not doing this again. In Python also you can install iGraph and there you can use import iGraph as IG, as simple as that. So this is the place where I'm going to write my code. So my first task here is to create a very simple network and to see that network. So right now I'm going to create a network which looks like a triangle. So the command here is, so the commands which you will see in iGraph in R and iGraph in Python will be more or less the same. There might be small difference in the function names that you can check out in the online documentation. And again, the difference is in how lists are implemented in R. So I hope all of you are aware with how to use list in Python. So I'll show you where I'm using a list and what. So in R, loops are somewhat different. In Python, you have a different way of implementing loop. That's all. It's just a small difference in the syntax. So the command to create a graph here is simply graph, and what you can do inside this, you can pass the edges. And what are the edges in the graph? To pass the edges, you simply use a vector or a list. So in R, we call it a vector, and a vector is written like this. So C represents that it is a vector, and inside the vector, I'm going to pass the edges which I want to have. So let's say I want to have an edge from node 1 to node 2. So you can also see the function arguments here, right? It shows you graph, then you give it edges, then you can make some vertices isolated. So we'll do it slowly. So I'm passing a vector here. So let's say I want an edge from 1 to 2, then let's say 2 to 3, and let's say from 3 back to 1, right? So these are my edges. You can also pass nodes here. So currently, let's say I need only 3 nodes. So I'm writing n equals to 3. I hope you know the difference between directed and undirected graphs. Can someone tell me the difference? Can you unmute yourself and tell the difference? So in a directed graph, your edges, they have direction. So if you have an edge from 1 to 2, doesn't necessarily mean that there will be an edge from 2 to 1. In undirected graph, it's symmetric. So you can see that Facebook network is an undirected one. If X is a friend with Y, then Y is also a friend with X. On the other hand, Twitter graph is a directed one. So you mostly have follower-followee relationships there. So if I follow you, doesn't necessarily mean that you will follow me. So here we have an argument which is called directed. You can tell here whether the graph which you are making is directed or not. So here I do not want a directed graph. So I write directed equals to false here, and after that I want to see this graph. So I have a plot G1 here. Right. So you can see this graph here. So let me actually to show this clearly to you. Let me repeat this and here. So this is the graph, right, which we have created. Okay. Now we have created a graph on just 3 nodes. Right now, what if I make this n equals to 10 here? Any idea what will happen? Just a guess. Let me take a guess. Now I am creating 10 nodes. So n here tells you the number of nodes. So by default, the nodes, they are numbered from 1 to 3, so on and so forth. Edges here tells me where I want the edges. So now I will have 10 nodes, but the edges will be there between 3 nodes. So let me plot it again here. If you see this graph now, I still have a triangle, but we have other 7 nodes here, right? Because total number of nodes was 10. All right. Let me tell you one more thing quickly. What if I remove this directed equals to false from here? How will the network look like? So let's plot it again. And now if you zoom it and you see the network, it shows you the directed edges. So these edges doesn't look very nice here. So what you can do in R is use an interactive library which is called TK-plot. So this gives you an interactive plot, and this generally looks much better. So as you can see here, these labels are not very clearly visible. So I want to change the color of my vertex. So what I can do is write vertex.color equals to, and let me change the color to orange. Right? So now this graph looks much better. I'll talk about these layouts in a while. Okay. If you want to see what this graph is all about, what you can do, simply type G1 here and press enter. So it tells you a number of things here. So it tells you how many nodes are there, which is 10. Here you see what is this. So this gives you some attributes of the graph. So D here means for directed. It means that it is a directed graph. There are certain other attributes which can tell you whether the graph is labeled or not, whether the graph is bipartite or not, and things like that. So we'll see those with time. And here it tells you the edges in the graph. Okay. So currently we have made the graph where my nodes were numbered from 1 to 10. So I also might want to make a graph where node labels, they are not numbers, but let's say rather they are certain names. How can we do that? That's also straightforward. So what I need to do is, let me just remove this for the meantime, and instead of passing these numbers here, you can just pass some random names here. Right? So let's try to do that. Let's give some names here. Let's say I want to say Alka is a friend with Rahul, and then Rahul is a friend with Megha. Megha is a friend with Rishabh. Just a second. And let's say Alka is also a friend with Rishabh. Right? It shows me an error currently. I missed a comma somewhere. Which is equals to Just a second. Yeah. Now it looks good. And instead of plot, I'll now use this library, tkplot. Right? And again, let's say we want vertex dot color to be orange here. So you can see the graph here. Okay. You can add a few more links here. Again, it's a friendship network, right? So I've taken here directed equals to false. And now if we look at G1, you see here you have one more attribute which is n. So previously you only saw u, now you have n also. So u means the graph is undirected, and here shows you that the graph is named. The vertices have names now. They don't simply have some what do we say, only numbers as their labels. And now in this case again, let's say we again want to have some isolated vertices which are not connected anywhere. So what we can do here is after this comma, so now we do not have numbers, right? Previously we simply wrote n equals to 10. So that gave me some isolated nodes. What do we do now here? You can pass a new attribute which is called isolates, and in this isolates you can again pass a vector of some more nodes which you want to be isolated. So let's say there are some people who do not have any friends. Let's just give one name here as of now, and you see here now I have this one node here which is not connected to anyone. You can use some more attributes here similar to vertex dot color. You can change the size of vertex. So I can set vertex dot size equals to, let's say, 15 to make it bigger, and then you can have a separate attribute for the frame color of vertex. So if you want vertex circle to be of different color, but let's say you also want to give it a frame, so I'm taking this frame color to be black here, right? So as you can see here, so vertex size, let me increase it all the more, right? So you can see here the size increases. And what else can we do? So the edges, sometimes straight edges doesn't look aesthetically very pleasing, so you can have an attribute which is edge.curve to slightly curve your edges. So here let me say 0.5, right, just to show you what it does. So now you can see your edges, they are not straight. You can also change the width of your edges, right? So there are attributes for all of them. You can explore them further. Okay. So now here, if I type G1, it shows me that it's a named graph, right, which has 5 nodes, which has 4 edges, and it shows me the edges here, Alka to Rahul, Rahul to Mega, so on and so forth. Now, what if I want to see only the vertices of the graph, right? So there was one more vertex, which was Ramesh, which we could see in the graph, but since Ramesh doesn't have any edge with anyone, so I don't see any entry for Ramesh here. So let's say I explicitly want to see which are the vertices in the graph here. So you can simply use the exact your graph theoretical base formulation, right? We write V of G and E of G to represent the set of vertices and the set of edges. So you can use the same notation here. You can write V of G1, and when you hit an enter, you see all the vertices here, right? It gives you the names of all the vertices. Similarly, to explicitly see the edges, you can write E of G1. In Python, you will see something like g1.vs and g1.es. So just a small change in syntax. And again, you can do your experiments in both R and Python, whichever you find easy. All right. Now, let us say I do not want, so can you tell me which kind of graph representation is this? Can anyone tell me what are the different ways to represent a graph in computer memory? Come on, people, you should know this. Have you studied data structures? It is covered, right? In which year is this course, data structures? Which semester? What happened? Are you people listening? Sakshi, Anurag, Aditi, Smriti.
Yes, ma'am, we did.
You did data structures, right? So how do you represent a graph in computer memory? There is a data structure graph there, right? How do you implement it? Can you tell me some ways of implementing a graph in data structures? You
Linked
would have
list. You
linked
mean
list, right? Linked list is a way. Okay, what else?
array?
Array, right? Array is there, linked list is there. So most common graph representation, so you can represent it as an array in the form of a adjacency matrix. So you can create a n cross n matrix. So let's say I have 5 nodes here, right? So you can create a 5 cross 5 matrix, and in that matrix Aij will be 1 if a node I is connected to node j. So let me show you what we mean by that. So if you write this, look at this. So it shows me a matrix where I have all these names in rows, in columns, and you see a one where there is an edge. So this is one of the ways in which you can represent a graph. And if I write it in this way, E of G1, so this particular representation which you see here, can you tell me what it is? So it is called a edge list representation. Right? So there are more representations. So I leave it as a homework exercise. Please note that it's a part of the syllabus. You should know different graph representations. How do you represent a graph in memory? And you should know their pros and cons. Right? So what is, so can you, why do we not, so we generally do not represent graphs like this. Any idea why? So in this way, in the form of a n cross n matrix, we generally do not prefer it. Why?
Ma'am, because it's not memory efficient, I guess.
It's not memory efficient, correct? Right. So here also it shows that it is a sparse matrix. So you'll have a lot of zeros here in this matrix, and we are wasting a lot of unnecessary space there. So therefore comes two more representations. One is the adjacency list and other is the edge list. So most commonly in our course, when you look at online data sets, you will find this kind of representation, which is called an edge list representation. So it simply gives you a list of all the edges which are there in the graph, and not even using a linked list. So linked list, the data structure, you can exactly use that if every node it has a fixed number of edges going it out from here, right? So you can easily represent a binary tree using a linked list. But what about a tree in which there is no fixation? Any node can have any number of edges. And again, we are not talking about tree, rather we are talking about graphs. So how do you represent them in memory? Okay. Now, sometimes, so if you look at the vertices here, V of G1, these are the vertices. Sometimes we want to associate some attributes with these vertices. So when we talk about real world data sets, I might be considering all this data, whether a student is a male or female, how many marks did they get in some exam, from which place are the students. So we have these kind of attributes, and you also might want to store those attributes in a code and use those attributes. So in here you can pass attributes using this. So V of G1 dollar, let's say I want to associate an attribute called gender with each of these vertices. So we say V of G1 dollar gender, and again I am going to pass it a vector or a list. This list will consist of the attributes I want to give. Let's say Alka is a female, so I write a F here. Similarly, Rahul is a male, F, and then M, right, and then again M. And now let's look at G1, right? So if you look at the list of attributes here, this graph, its vertices now have two attributes. The first attribute is the name and second attribute is the gender. So similarly, you can assign more attributes. You can also assign attributes to the edges here. So how many edges do we have? So we have these 4 edges here. So let's say I want to take account of the strength of a friendship here. Maybe Alka is strongly connected to Rahul, but not that strongly connected to Rishabh. So I want to weight every edge here. So we can also associate an attribute with every edge, and let me call it strength here. So this tells me the strength of every edge, and we have 4 edges here. So let's say the strength of first is 10, second is 8, let's say 4, and let's say 2, right? Again, if you look at the graph graph G1 here, right? So now it gives you this attribute which is strength here. You see, this name attribute is those of the vertex, gender attribute is for the vertex, but this strength attribute here, it is for the edge. And now you can also use this attribute while plotting the graph. So let's say I want the width of every edge to reflect how strong that friendship is. So what we can do here is have this attribute which I think is edge dot width equals to, and what should be this attribute? This attribute should be this vector E of G dollar strength. Let's see. Edge dot width it is. I'm unable to differentiate it. Let's say 3 times of this. Just got managed. I'll have to check for what exactly is this attribute. Let me try weight. Okay, this even I'll have to check. So what exactly is the attribute here? According to me it was weight, but probably it is something else. Okay. So these are some things which you can do. So this is for how do we create our own graph. And now let us look at some inbuilt functions which are there to create a graph. Right. So there can be a question, what if I want only let's say 100 nodes in a graph, but I do not want any edges between them. So one idea is to give an empty vector here, right, and give an empty vector here and write n equals to 100. That is one way to do it. Another way to do it is again utilize some of the inbuilt functions which are there in this iGraph library. So I'll show you some inbuilt functions. So the one is make empty graph. So let's say I want a graph which only has nodes but not edges. So let's say I want 10 edges, pkplot G, and let's say vertex dot color equals to orange, so that we can view the labels properly. Let me see, it's no problem. So the graph is made, it's a directed graph on 10 nodes. So this one works here. So you can see this graph here on 10 nodes. But why is this one not working? Okay, I'll figure it out why it's not working here. You can see G, it's there, and I plot G. This one works. Okay, so I think probably this interactive plotting, it requires at least one edge in the network. That's why probably it's not working. Let me try another graph and let's see whether it will work there or not. So similar to empty graph, we have something which is called a complete graph, which is represented as full here. It means a complete graph where everyone is connected with everyone else. And yes, in this case it works. So this interactive plotting, it works if you have at least one edge in your graph. Otherwise this will show you an error. And here also we can have this. You can see a graph here which has all the edges. Then you have more kind of graphs, so you can make a tree kind of a graph. So you can choose to have a tree. So this 40 is the number of nodes which I want. Then you have an attribute which is children. So here you, so this function is used where every node has the same number of children. So let's say each node has 2 children, and you can choose to have it directed or undirected. Right? If you do this, so you can look at this graph. So it gives you a tree where every node has 2 children. Okay, so these are some inbuilt graphs, and then there are more graphs which are based on specific models. Like the other day we were discussing how do you model a graph on a graph which shows a friendship between the students, and we realized that this graph cannot be very symmetrical. For example, a graph, a friendship network between the students, it won't be an empty graph because there will be friendships. It cannot be a complete graph because everyone will not be friends with everyone else. Can it be a tree? Probably not, right? Because tree do not have cycles. But if you look at friendship graph, triads are very common. If I'm a friend with A, I'm a friend with B, there's a good chance that A and B will be friends with each other. It cannot be a tree. So there are certain models out there which help you designing such graphs. So one way of designing such graphs is called a random graph. So we do not know where exactly to place the edges. So we sort of assume that I place the edges randomly. And how do you place the edges randomly? So let's say I have a graph on 10 students. Can you tell me how many total friendship ties are possible on this graph? So if I have 10 students, how many friendships can be there between them? It's a combinatorics question. Okay, if I have 2 friends, how many possible friendships can be there if I have 2 people in a classroom? Anyone? Between 2 people, how many friendships can be there?
One.
1, right? 2 people, 1 friendship. Okay. How many friendships can be there between 3 people? So let's say I have these 3 peoples A, B and C. What are the possible friendships between them? So A can be a friend with B, right? A can be a friend with C, and then B can be a friend with C. Right? These are the possible friendships. So with 3 people, there are 3 friendships. Similarly, can you tell me a general formula? If I have 4 people, how many friendships are possible? So the friendships are the possible pairs we can have here. So with these 3 people, we have 3 possible pairs, AB, BC and AC. Let's say I have one more node D here. What are the possible pairs now? So AB, AC is another pair, AD is another pair, then BC is another pair, BD and then CD, right? Any other pair possible? No, right? So we have 6 friendships here. Can you tell me what is happening? Can you give me a general formula for this? So if we have 2 people, we have 1 friendship. If we have 3 people, we have 3 friendships. If we have 4 people, we have 6 friendships. So can you tell me if this is I, then what is this? What is f of I?
Ma'am, is it a combination like I combination 2?
It is a combination. Can you tell me the exact formula? So can you tell me fi in terms of I?
I think it should be I factorial upon 2 factorial. I'm not sure.
Okay, something like that, right? So read it back when you go home. It is nothing but I choose to, right? It is I factorial divided by 2 factorial into I minus 2 factorial.
Yeah, ma'am. I meant that only. I combination 2. I
Okay,
just
all
forgot
right.
the formula.
Okay. So now what we do is for each of these I choose two friendships, we say each of the friendship can exist with some probability, right? So I am trying to look at it more realistically. So I'll see the friendship between A and B. Since I do not know the actual friendships, I'm just trying to take a guess here. So I'll toss a coin, and if I have a head, I'll say, okay, all right, A is a friend with B. If I get a tail, A is not a friend with B. Similarly for AC, similarly for AD. So this way I'll have some random edges in my graph. We'll talk more about this model as we proceed further in the course, right? And instead of using a coin, you can also use a biased coin. So you can say that the students in this class, they are more friendly, right? So there will be more edges. So this probability increases. So one of the functions to make this graph is called sample GNM, where n is the number of nodes and you tell me how many friendships you want in this class. So again, between 100 nodes, how many friendships can be there? So if it's a complete graph, there will be 100 choose two friendships. But I do not want all of them. I only want a few of them. So you tell me how many you want. Okay, I want, let's say 50 out of them, or let me say I want 30 friendships only. So we'll again talk about in general, how is this number? In general, will this number be less than 50 or greater than 50 in the real world? Any guesses? So we will talk about that. Here we are taking these 30 and you look at this graph. So it doesn't look very nice here. So there are edges but not visible. So I can use one of these layouts. So these layouts are again based on certain algorithms. So for most of my purpose, this layout works reasonably well. You can also find all of these layouts in Python iGraph. And here now you can see the friendships. So most of the nodes are just isolated, and here there are few friendships. Now, one thing you should note here is every time you run this code, you will get a different graph because it's a probabilistic model. Every time it will place some of the edges randomly. So look at this graph which we just created. Here you see an edge between 51 to 99, right? Just to validate the point which I'm saying. And if you run it again, see, now do you have an edge between 51 to 99? This will tell you that the graph is changing. Right? So it's difficult to spot 51 and 99 here. Can someone spot? Or maybe we can try with a different and smaller graph. So let's do it with a smaller graph. Let's say I want 10 nodes and only 3 edges between them. So this is the graph which you see now. So there is edge from 4 to 7, 6 to 9 and 2 to 3. If you run it again, the edges have changed, right? This time there is no edge from 2 to 3. So it's a probabilistic model, will give you different result each time. And now think about, is this a good way of modeling a graph? Do you think that friendships happen randomly? And if we claim that friendships happen randomly, what can go wrong there? Are there certain phenomenon in a classroom network, in a friendship network, which you see, which could actually contradict this fact that these friendships happen randomly? So we'll also talk about that, and we will talk about better models to do that. Now, let us take a look at some online available data sets. So the graphs which we have been generating till now, most of them are the synthetic graphs, but out in the real world, we mostly work with the actual real world networks. So one of the most heavily used network is this. It's called a Jakari Karate Club network. So this was one of the most earliest network which was studied in this field. So this network, it sort of acts as a prototype. Prototype in the sense, most of the times we deal with the networks of having millions and billions of nodes and edges. But this network, it's a small one. So if you are writing an algorithm of your own, so this network acts as a prototype. So you can test your algorithm on this network, and if it works well, then you can apply it onto the bigger networks. So this is the network as you see it here. So this is a karate club network. The people here are those who have registered in the club, and these ties which you see are the friendship ties there. Now this network might look much like a random network, but with time we'll discuss the properties which are there in this network but are not there in a random network. So this network, it is so famous that our coding platforms now, they have an inbuilt function to create this network. So I need not download that network and load it and do something. You have an inbuilt function. I can write here graph, and this I can simply write a jQuery here. Right, so this graph function, it can take this attribute and it can create this network for you, the one which we have just seen online. This is the network here. Okay. Now let me show you some more real world data sets. So this is, maybe you might want to note down all these websites. So this is one website which has huge amount of networks of different types which you can use. As you can see here, it has social networks. So the first network which you see here is the Facebook network, and it's definitely undirected network because friendships are mutual, right? And for each network you can see the number of nodes and number of edges here. So for the purpose of your projects for this course, if you are taking one of the networks from here, try to take a network which has fewer nodes and edges, right? Because crunching these networks, it might require high performance computing and heavy end servers. So better to limit your experiment for now to these small networks. This second network is a Google Plus network. So Google Plus started their social networking website in between, and it was a directed graph. Probably there again, there was the concept of following people and not befriending with them. And now it is another interesting question that why Facebook became such a success but Google Plus failed. You can always think about all those questions. And this is Twitter network. So please note that these are not the entire networks of Facebook, Google Plus and Twitter. They're just a small part of them. They have sampled a small portion of these networks and made them available as a file here. So if I go further in it, and if you look at the files, so here is a complete description of this data set. These are some of the data set statistics which we'll discuss during the course. And if you are using this graph, so you can take a look at the description of these files. So most of the times we are interested in these files which have all the edges combined, which has all the edges. You can go forward, click on this. So it has, let's see in which format this data is. I've just downloaded this. Let's open it and see it quickly. So it has this one file here. Let me see if I can directly open it. And here. All right. So this is the file we have. Let me open it in Notepad. So if you look at this file, this is what you get, right? It's quite a big file. So there are 4023. How many nodes were there? Just a second. I think little bit greater than that. Yeah. So there are 4039 nodes. You come to this file, you'll see all the edges. So your nodes are numbered from 1 to 4039, and this gives you the edge list. So this tells you that node 0 is a friend with node 1, node 0 is a friend with node 2, node 0 is a friend with node 3. Right? And again, there are functions with which you can read this file. to in your iGraph in Python as well as R. So in R, the function is read_graph. I'll show that to you in a while, the function also and its implementation. So these are few other networks. So these all are social networks. These are the networks in which they have some kind of data of communities. So communities are mostly like, let's say I'm studying the friendship network of an institute, let's say. So institute has different departments, and let's say my data set, it doesn't have any information regarding the departments, but even then you can see that there will be groups of closely linked people, because computer science people will be mostly friends with computer science, so there will be a dense part in that network. So those are called communities, people who are densely connected to each other. So these graphs, they have some of the information regarding the communities also, the actual communities. Then you have some communication networks, citation network. So citation network, I hope you remember the video which we have seen in the first session, the video by Nature. That was an example of citation network, which paper cites which other paper. Collaboration networks is the network between scientists. So the people who have written papers together. So if you write one paper with me during this course, there will be an edge between me and you. We are collaborators. Then you have web graphs. Web graphs tells you about hyperlinks. So see, there are hyperlinks on each web page. Right? So this is something which is used in Google page ranking. The reason behind why Google is such a success. So the nodes are these web pages, and you have an edge from one node to another if first page it has a hyperlink to the second page. So it will be a directed graph always. Then you have product co-purchasing network, in case let's say you want to work on a recommendation system based on which products are being purchased together, you want to recommend products to a customer. So you can see that which products this customer has purchased in the past, then you can see which products are co-purchased together, and based on that you can make a decision on which product to recommend to this customer. So it could be a product, it can be a movie, it can be a course in a MOOC, so on and so forth. Then you have road networks, so you can take a look at that. So these kind of networks, these are again interesting. So signed networks are the networks which also represent whether each edge is positive or negative. So you can always say, why do you always study friendship network between the people? Why don't you study animosity network? So students fight, right? Sometimes students don't want to work with each other. That can also be represented as a network. So you can call it an enemy network. And then you can merge both of them. In a network, you can show both friendships as well as animosity, right? In that sense, you can sign the network with positive and negative edges. So yeah, so maybe you can take a look at this. Temporal networks are those which evolve with time. So you have the network data at several different timestamps. You can see how the network is changing with time. This is some actual Twitter data. This data was collected when this Higgs boson particle was discovered. So these people, they have tracked which people are talking about this particle and have created this data set from there. So it is actually a retweet network. Yeah. So these are some, let me show you some more. So I'll put the links to all these web pages in this shared spreadsheet. How do I go behind this? Yes. I don't know how to move this thing. Okay. So I'll also give you this link. So this link has a lot of other websites where you can find these network data sets. So this is another very good site to collect all these networks. It's called Connect. It is fairly new. So you can see here, so this website has around 1,326 networks. So some of the networks might be same as you saw in the previous Stanford website. Some of these will be different. So you can always take a look at which of these data sets it interests you. Okay. Now, with all this, let's talk of an actual real world network in the sense that which has been collected by us. So again, all these data sets are collected by different people. So let me show you a network which I collected. So this is a snapshot of a network. So do we have any third year student here? Can you tell me what this network is about if you remember our course on graph theory? Just a
I
quick
guess
memory.
it was our class. You took us to fill that form. We were supposed to write the roll number of our friends.
Yes, exactly. So this is a classroom network, an actual classroom network of third year students. So it was when they were in their second year. So we did this activity in the class. So that was the time when COVID just started, and we started taking these lectures online. So we asked these students, if given a chance to do an online handshake, which person would you want to shake hands with? So since we cannot do an actual handshake, and this was the graph which we considered. So there are certain interesting properties of this graph. So you can see these long paths here. You can already see these clusters here. See all these 5 people they want to handshake with each other, all these 6 people they want to handshake with each other. So you already see some dense clusters. You see some isolated nodes who do not want to shake hands with anyone, and no one else also wants to shake hands with them. And you'll find a lot of such isolated nodes in the real world networks also. So if you are portraying this entire big Facebook network, you'll have all these isolated nodes. So these will be the people who are inactive on Facebook. So they made an account, but they are still inactive. They haven't added any friend, right? Or they haven't accepted any friend request as well. So in these terms, let me show you an actual, so this is a data set which I collected during when I was delivering an online FDP. So as you can see, this network, it has 27 nodes. So it's a small network, just like this Jackery Karate Club network. It has 27 nodes. Each person, they were asked their hobbies, and they were asked this question, why is computer science important? And all of them answered the question in their own way. So this is the first data set here. The second data which was collected was, so each of these people, they have to look at the profiles of these people, profiles in the sense what they have written in this form. They could also search for these people online, look at their other qualities, look at courses they are teaching, or how many papers they have published. And each person, they were asked to recommend a few other people. Recommend in the sense that, like a Twitter network, whom do you want to follow? So as an example, this person, Revati here, will go through all these profiles of all these people, and then she'll tell me which are the people she wants to connect with. And that data you see here in this sheet. So instead of their names, they were asked to report their IDs. So the person 1 wants to be friends with all these people, person 2 wants to be friends with this. And one thing you can note here is this network will not be symmetric, right? It's not a friendship network. So if person 14 wants to connect with person 1, yes, coincidentally person 1 also wants to connect with person 14. But see, person 18 here wants to connect with person 1, but person 1 doesn't want to connect with person 18, right? So you will end up getting a directed network. So there was some, you can, let me show you this network. So I've used some functions here just to remove some additional spaces from the graph. So if you sort of ignore these lines, you can just I'll share this code with you. So you can look at this function, right? Graph.adj list. So once you have this list, you have imported this list with the help of this readlines function. I have passed it to graph.adjacency list function, and based on this list, it will create a graph. Let me show you this graph here. Just a second. So let's take a look at this graph G here, right? So if I look at G, you can see that it's a directed graph, and it shows me all the edges here. I also wanted to see the attributes here. Just give me a second. Let me run it again. Yes, fine. So this time if you look at this graph, I have labeled it with the vertices name. Let's portray it in a better way, right? So again you see the same thing. There is this big one component here. There are a few people who are isolated and you can see which person follows which other person. So you can treat this graph as a very small prototype of your Twitter network. And now my question to you is, if I give you such a graph, can you tell me what all would you want to study? What all questions would be interesting to study on such a graph? From a sociological perspective or from a graph theory perspective? I'll give you some time to think. You have a graph in front of me, in front of you, and tell me some things which you would want to study from this graph. Some very basic level ideas. What will be interesting to see here? So take your time. I'll give you 5 minutes and I want each of you to come up with a few questions you can ask on this graph. Right? And maybe I'll share a Google Doc with you. You can write your name followed by the questions you can ask on such a graph. And we'll continue from here in the next lecture. So let me see if I can give you this graph in the chat window so that you can keep it with you. With size, maybe I'll keep it here. Okay, so you have the graph in the chat window. You can view it from there. And I'll share a Google Doc with you. You can all flood that Google Doc with your own ideas, and we'll discuss those ideas in the lecture we have day after tomorrow. We'll continue from there. Meanwhile, if you have any queries, you can discuss with me. So you can see the link to the Google Doc in the chat window, and sure to write your name before your ideas, right? So that I accordingly know who is participating and who is not. Okay, and I also wanted to talk to you regarding the projects. How many of you are doing industrial internships? So I know of one of you, Vinutna. Okay, Smriti is doing that. Anyone else?
Ma'am, I will be doing summer internship.
Okay, so the question is with regard to this course. So this semester, how many of you are doing industrial internships? Because you'll be getting your project grades mostly from there. So the remaining of you, you'll have to undergo the course project. So I need to know in advance. So all of you who are doing industrial internships, right, and whose grade has to come from the grade which your manager gives you for the project. So do send me an email so that I can accordingly make note of it. Okay. So day after tomorrow, we'll also discuss some of the project ideas. So I have some project ideas. I'll tell you those. So you can also work on those ideas. If you work on those ideas, I'll be in a good position to guide you fairly well. I'll also send you some sample projects which you can read at your own time and come up with your own ideas as well. So I'll still help you if you come up with your own ideas, but definitely if you work on the ideas which I give you, I'll be in a better position to guide you, but you are free to take any of the projects. All right, with that we'll end the session. If you have no queries, you can leave, otherwise you can stay back and discuss with me.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Vinutna, tell me.
So you meant project grades should come from the manager, right?
Yes.
Does that mean the project that we have to work for social computing or the fourth year ka project?
No, it is for the course, so I have nothing to do with your 4th year project.
Okay.
See, the point is what we
Actually, we were told that in the place of fourth year project, we can take up the internship and the credits of internship will be transferred for the fourth year project.
Yes,
So,
so that's a different thing. So what we are talking here is about the course. So what has been conveyed by the HOD to me, since you are doing an industrial internships, only your major exam marks will be considered, right? And all your remaining marks will be coming from there.
okay, cool. Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Ma'am?
Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, actually, I got confused. Like industrial internship, that's different, right? Than summer internship.
Yes, that is different. So
Okay.
summer internship you will be doing it in when does it start?
So it's with Dell, so they haven't confirmed it yet when it starts. So probably around like after this semester get over.
Okay, okay, all right. I'll update all of you on this.
Ma'am, also like for me, I'm like we are just starting with this iGraph and RGraph. So are we supposed to do like both Python and R?
You can choose any one of these and continue with that. Any.
So
You
if
are not
like
supposed to know both.
So if I just start learning the Python one, so I will be able to understand, right? Whatever you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So the package is mostly same. Functions are also the same. Right. So the idea is to use these programming languages just as a calculator and a computing device. You can use any programming language. If you want to use C, you can also do that.
No, all right.
Yes.
Okay. Also, any idea on how we can get started? I just wanted to ask.
I'll send you an online documentation and a few blogs which will help you get started.
Okay, thank you.
All right.